Hi everyone, it's Mark here, aka Captain DeFi from the Oz DeFi Association. It's been a little while since we've done these, but we are doing another Getting to Know the Community show. This time it's with Josh Talks Crypto, aka JTC in the Discord, so make sure to check him out. He's got a lot of stuff that he does on the various socials. He's on a lot around education. We learn how he got started in this space, the kind of stuff that he's doing right now, projects for himself and for others, and just what the community means to him. There's a fun little Spider-Man quote reference in there, as well as many other gems in this episode. So make sure to check it out. Please do like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.
Now we're live.
Ooh. Oh my God, I'm scared because I can't see. Like maybe I could check on my phone if I can see. Where are you live, to Twitch or to TikTok?
Live on Twitch. So I'll see if people drop questions or stuff like that. But
yeah, man, let's throw it in. All right. Well, I'm going to do the whole intro kind of stuff separately as we discussed and whatnot. But we'll pretend like we got into it. But everybody, we've got the awesome JTC here. Josh Talks Crypto. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Mate, we met in real life, which is kind of rare in this space. When I was down in Melbourne, that was pretty awesome to, get the little group together.
Oh, look, it was really great. I think actually seeing people in person outside Discord, Twitter, because I think that's where most of crypto lives at the moment, right? It's kind of good to connect.
Oh, absolutely. And, the crazy thing as well is that some of the other people that we met in that group and we had drinks at, was it Madame Brussels or something? They're all doing awesome things as well, like PD with Gemini.io and the NFT folks from NFT Melbourne. So it is really good to meet in real life and stuff. Had you done much of that beforehand? Like, had you met up with other people before that event, like in real life?
I think that was probably my first event, I would say, in real life. Heaps of different sort of rocking up to other people's podcasts, YouTube chats, interviews, but I think because of COVID as well.
Yeah. It was definitely definitely. It was definitely that gap in the market and stuff that it needed to be filled. Everyone was like missing real life touch. And it was all novel when Zoom calls were all the rage, and you could work from home, but it got old pretty quick. So all good. But mate, so how did you get started in this space? Like where was your Web3 and blockchain calling? Where did that come from?
Oh, that's a interesting question. I would say I first got into crypto in 2017, from pure buying, selling tokens, that whole aspect, right? And historically, I obviously come from a background of finance, risk, and insurance. I've worked in banks. I'm a qualified financial advisor. I've got a very industry finance heavy background of risk and financial services, right? And I used to play crypto on the side. And then before that life, I actually started out with a computer science degree. So I did a little bit of Python many, many years ago, did a little bit of coding, and then I swapped from that to finance and moved away from it. I kind of wish I finished that whole degree. It would have helped even more now, but I'm picking it all back up again. And there came a turning point where I stopped looking at crypto as crypto, and I looked at it as blockchain technology. And it changed my relationship with not looking at it as just an investing thing to buy and to sell, but something to build with. And then as I started to do that over the last 2 years, I stumbled onto TikTok. And my wife's like, oh, look at these people talking about financial advice. I'm like, people can't talk about financial advice on TikTok, or they were. And then I stumbled onto people talking about crypto. And I just noticed no one was actually talking about the blockchain technology. It was buying and selling. It was sort of heavy on that and less on the other. So I saw an opportunity of just talking a little bit more sensible approaches to cryptocurrency as well as blockchain technology. So I started out with TikTok, and then I had YouTube. Now I've got a website. Now people want to build dApps with me, and it's happening really fast. So it's really crazy.
When that moment that you get in and you realize that this is not just currency, or this is not just like trading in that sense. There's more to it. There's actually the blockchain technology that sits behind it. It really makes sense as to why, this whole people are big on the Web3 kind of space. But we see a lot of critiques, right? It's not easy to kind of ignore that. And I guess, you know, they get a lot of leeway with the stuff that they see. It's very easy to point to scams and issues in the space, but it's all still really early. I mean, what do you think about that? Like, what do you think about the FUD, the fear, uncertainty, the doubt in the space at the moment?
One way I'd talk about this without using the word crypto or anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where we really are right now is this is the startup world. Drop the word crypto. Everything you're looking at, from NFT to whatever project, they're all startups. This is startup land. That's what this is. But it's built on a blockchain, and there's a technology behind it. And because the blockchain allows, you know, anonymity for people to be anonymous in some cases, people take advantage of that, right? Because there's hype around it. It's kind of like it's the .com boom, except anyone can start a booming project, right?
Yeah.
And you know what? Some of the best projects with moderate marketing approaches have been the best. And that's in NFTs. They're really shining there, right? But really, and I say this with any sort of investment, whether you're into crypto, finance, cars, travel, whatever, there's 3 or 4 names, maybe 5, depending, right? And these names will have the most strongest community and technology and purpose. And they're the ones that gobble up the market share. Facebook, right? It's losing it now. Ford, at one stage, motor vehicles, Ford, you know, the major manufacturers around the world, BMW, etc. They still hold market share, but look at what Tesla's doing, right? Same with this startup world of crypto. There'll be 4 or 5 projects in different fields that will just gobble up market share. Love or hate Bitcoin, it's got the market share. Love or hate Ethereum, it's got the market share. Doesn't mean it's just going to be one, but they're all startups. Some are much further in their journey. So when you look at all of these different crypto projects, don't buy into the FUD, but also don't buy into the marketing. Think smart about it. Think, what has this startup got? What is its purpose, and what is the technology, and how is it great? The beautiful thing about Web3 is you don't need to actually you can have a lot of inspiration. You can learn a lot of skills fast and get into this industry. Front-end web development, artists, there's so many aspects to actually build on the blockchain. And the accessibility for building is just, I talk about it all the time. I started a series on teaching people how to do programming, right? Really
We've
basic
seen
stuff,
that.
Rust,
Yeah.
right? And also some stuff on Solana. I won't name drop the projects I like, but the main thing is the barriers to learn is actually zero. I know there's heaps of paid content out there, but there's actually even more free content. You could literally pick up your education on how to learn to program online for free. You could learn blockchain, you can go to foundations, and you can build. And the beauty about it is you can actually build and spend no money. You need an internet connection, of course, and a computer.
Sure.
But you can go on testnet, develop a net, and you can build, practice. You can launch all your own NFTs and practice it for free. And when you're ready to take it to the real market, then you need to pay, obviously, a little bit of gas and stuff. But you can do all this for free. And I think when people start to realize that, they go, wow. It's really,
not the
really
same.
right now.
It's not the same as the Web2 world where you need, you want to do a test server. Well, we've got to spin something up on Amazon, then you got to pay for all that. And, you know, there's none of this Ropsten testnet service, which is, you know, that's a testnet and a mainnet. You know, people will obviously they'll learn about that kind of stuff, but you're right. Like, you can spin up and learn and test something, and there's free stuff on YouTube, for goodness sake. Like, you can follow the instructions, whether it's the stuff that you're putting out on your socials like TikTok and Twitch and all that, or people that, you know, have stuff on YouTube, and you just follow step by step, and here's the GitHub code if you get stuck. But it's probably better if you do follow step by step, because you can learn along the way. Like, a really great one I've seen is one where you can actually learn how to do a bit of React with a test net. It's connecting to your MetaMask, and you set up some dummy accounts, and you can send fake ETH back and forth with this account, and you can see the transactions in the background, or you can see a list of the transactions. So it teaches you how to pull from the blockchain. And to your point, like, once your mind kind of, you know, even before, you could just watch a video and see, you don't have to get your hands dirty, but you can just see how the blockchain works as a big old computer. It's crazy. But back to your point, we say to that to people all the time as well. Take away the tokens, the protocols, the currency word out of it. These are projects. So I like how you go into the way to view projects there. And no, we're not going to get into like which are your favorite ones. We won't give those away and stuff. But, it's interesting because, like you said, you're building stuff in this space as well, and you've come from an interesting background. And we'll go back to that. But just in terms of the building stuff, I mean, can you tell us a little bit more about some of the projects that you're, that you've got out there, some of the websites and stuff?
Yeah, so predominantly I would say I get a lot of call outs for me to help build NFT projects. So there's two applications to what I do, really, from a services perspective. A lot of people ring me up or contact me to do the tokenomics. So in the background, they'll come up with an approach, a vision, a scope, an NFT project, or some other crypto project. And they'll go, how do we get the tokenomics right? So it's a little bit of analytical analyst, looking at tokenomics, looking at supply, a little bit of economics, etc. And I talk about different models they can use. So I do that in the background. I sign sometimes a lot of agreements where I can't talk about what I'm doing with a few. I'm working with 3 projects at the moment. 2 of them are mainly surrounding not DeFi products, but very interesting type of things that are going to be launching in the next 4 to 6 months. And a lot of my time is spent in tokenomics, but I do have a few clients that want the full risk suite conversation of, I've got a vision, but how do I get this NFT off the ground? And then I take them through different types of canvases, different types of strategies. And depending on how complicated it is, if it's very simple, I might do some of the dev work, but most of the projects I've had probably need 3 or 4 devs to get it done. And then obviously I have the project I'm trying to launch, which is Keep Cats on the side as well. And I think the most interesting thing I find with people think about launching their own startup, right, is everyone thinks it's as easy as launching 10,000 NFTs. And it's actually quite a lot more. And the hardest thing about all of this isn't the vision, it's actually marketing and execution. And people, it's easy to create a vision. I can create one right now of a project, right? But marketing and that execution is the hardest thing. And what I try to tell people is, whilst you can build for free, if you don't have a developer, you need to pay developers, right? And there is an expense to that. And depending on how you raise capital, there's different ways you can approach that. But what people need to realize is every time you want to add utility or function to your NFT, it ups the price tag of what you need to build. It doesn't mean you need to launch your project straight away with all the utility. You can scale it up. But having that understanding and that canvas and how you're going to go to market is very, very important. I would say, though, in terms of the most interesting project that I've got at the moment is it's kind of like it's one of the something and earn projects. I can't say the first part because they haven't gone over the marketing. But at the moment, it's really big, right? The most interesting one I saw, though, is Move to Earn, which is STEP. If you don't know that project. That was a fantastic idea, bringing in the concept of you getting healthy and earning crypto, right? Fantastic. I think there's a few more something and earns to come. Obviously, I'm doing Learn and Earn. I've talked about that a lot, but there's a fair few good projects. And to be honest, I think some of the most interesting projects have been focused on community first rather than the earning part, and then they bring it in. And they're the most successful ones. D-Gods NFT. We had OK Bears. I'm sure some people aren't okay for not minting that, if you know what I'm talking about. But they're the most interesting ones, I would say.
No, that's a very interesting point there, because the way that the market kind of has played out, people have realized over time that and look, I see that, and probably there's more nuance to this, but there's the types of projects, one, which is just the meme and meme only, where it's only because of popularity, and you can call it Ponzi-nomics if you want to be derogatory to it, but some of them are, and we just can't get rid of them. But there's the ones that are and they'll just say that Ponzi-nomics, but then they add utility later on because they've gotten popular, thinking like Bored Apes and stuff like that. They got really popular. Maybe the utility is going to be there, with Yuga Labs and what they're going to do. And then there's the ones that build with utility first. And a lot of people, find it hard to how will number 1 and 2 kind of work out, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. Like, it's just very hard for that to, even number 3, you building with utility only. I mean, there's a lot of competition in the space. There's 18,000 plus different projects that are out there. But do you think that the way that things are kind of playing out, that do you see utility coming up as like something people are going to be into more, like NFTs of, there's a lot of debate around like, oh, have they lost their popularity? NFTs are over. Well, first of all, a lot of people don't understand that NFTs aren't just for the artwork. right? There's much more to it and stuff. They're digital tickets to the, the tickets to the digital future. But what are your kind of thoughts on like where this space is going with the different types of projects that are out there? Like the something to earn is good, but do you think it goes more towards utility? Are we moving more along like the same line that we're doing right now and just getting rid of what are your just general thoughts?
Yeah, so I think going back to 2018 to 2020, DeFi was the rage. DeFi is still a rage, right? But it was really the rage. And the ICO craziness that happened with that, right? That was a whole season in itself. And now it's NFTs, right? What I've noticed is the pace is increasing. So what would have been a roadmap for an NFT project, get your staking out in a year, and then this happens at the roadmap, people want that in 3 months. People want that earn part back first, right? Yeah. You have the people that are there for the community. You now have these degen art flippers that flip the NFTs, but everyone's chasing that earn aspect. And it's kind of like the high yield craze that we had last year with debasing projects, right? I think there's a high degree of people trying to do the Lambo approach to NFTs, but sometimes they fail to see what the utility can bring. I think the challenge with all of the NFT projects at the moment is tokenomics, right?
Yeah.
And getting that right, because depending on what sort of NFT community or project you are, there's different challenges. The ultimate challenge in any project, especially in GameFi, which is where I'm trying to work in at the moment with a project, 2 projects actually, one being my own, is security. Security is the biggest thing. We've had so many hacks on the Ronin network, Axes, all the other sort of Ethereum-based networks have been hacked. And there are a couple of ways you can resolve the security vulnerabilities, actually. I won't go into what they are or how to resolve them on live. That would be a bit dangerous. But I think we could think of a better way to secure liquidity pools, whether that is in GameFi or not. And until that comes, you're not going to really bring in stronger institutional investment, because that's the fear when you get into those projects, right? I think what you're seeing from the general user is you've got people that get NFTs and are there for the long-term utility. And then you've got the people there that are chasing what the TikTok videos say to do. Buy this, sell it here, do that, right? Which is not really the side of it. I think the challenge is all around keeping the community engaged, because NFTs is kind of like a video game or an art show. If you don't keep the user growth going, you don't fund the liquidity pools, you don't fund the rewards, and then you have crashes, right? And Axie's had a few challenges with that, with the Super Love Potion token, NFT and land sale, infrastructure. From a mathematics point of view, it's actually really hard to balance that pay in, pay out system. Because if you really think about it, someone's earning is someone else is paying. If you take out all the maths, right? If you keep it that simple, it's not, but that's how it works. And what keeps that going is user growth. So you need things to be sustainable.
Exactly.
And the way they do that is a good company, right? They build in expansion, but they've got to build it faster. I'll use World of Warcraft. I know a lot of people know what that is, right?
Yep.
You get out vanilla WoW. Then you get the next expansion pack. You keep users excited. And every expansion pack, it's more growth, more NFTs, more function, more utility. And if you don't keep that roadmap going and the pace fast, and I think the pace at the moment is 3 to 6 months. If you don't have something new on the horizon, you lose users. So if you want a DeFi product or an NFT product in specifically with DeFi application, you need a lot of money in marketing and sustainability. And I think the ones that are doing it well are, you got the prime movers, right? Bored Ape Yacht Club, Yuga Labs, they're buying everything up and they're growing, right? But just like Ethereum is the prime mover, if it doesn't keep up pace with DeFi, you get things like Luna coming along, stealing market share. So if you're a creator or you're a hunter for one of those great projects, is seeing that roadmap. But the challenge is building fast opens security risk. And that's why we see so many flaws happening, right? You got to build so fast for your demand. And it's really challenging. And if everyone just remembers, the biggest risk to this whole place, if you're looking at this as an investor, protecting wealth is more important than actually investing. That's the number one goal. And if you don't understand security or what the project is, there's so many risks out there.
Mate, it's massive. And you're right, like that whole protecting wealth thing, not getting into it is definitely not investment advice, but you hear it from financial advisors when you watch like ASX type, conferences and stuff, that it's you can make money. It's harder to keep it. And I think it rings true in this space as well. And so it's very interesting that you said like security is a big part there, because that's the thing. Like, it's very easy to FOMO into this space, but if you don't have the security, what's the point? And I think the mistakes that have happened and the scams and all that kind of stuff, look, it's bad, but in many years' time, hopefully it becomes like this feature of the system that, because it was so open, and yeah, scams are bad and they happen, but because it was so open, we saw and we could really see. I mean, we can see where the scammers take the money and like put them into other NFTs and other wallets. Like, you don't see that in the traditional market. So hopefully it actually becomes a feature where we can learn from and, you know, do a lot more with. And hopefully with people like yourself out there, pushing out the education, and many others, like, we can really help others understand, A, to not be scared, and B, you know, to make sure that you have those kind of protections and stuff. You know, where we have like projects like yours, like the Keep Cats and stuff like that, where can people look for that? And like, what kind of channels do you have out there in the socials? Because you get quite out there. It's really good. Like, I mean, we're definitely learning a lot from what it is that you do. We haven't touched Twitch just yet, and we were speaking about that before the call, but what are all the socials that you're on, man?
Yeah, there's a few now. So I've got YouTube, Twitch, TikTok. I've got a Instagram and Discord. So a fair different types of communities that I use to create videos, sometimes jokes, educational things. When I get into longer items, such as what's happening from a macroeconomics perspective, I try to do that in lives and talk to audiences. And then when it's more detailed things, probably use Twitch and YouTube to do demonstrations and videos, right?
Wow.
I would say the main thing though is I'm trying to spread the word of looking at crypto as blockchain technology. I know I still use the word crypto a lot, and it's even in my main because I talk crypto because that's what people hear, right?
Yep.
But there's so much more to learn from it. And I guess, you know, and I'll put this question back to you, Mark. You think about the first time you got back into crypto, right? And I remember what 2017 was like. There was rug pulls were happening. They weren't quite defined as they are now. You would learn your mistakes by doing your mistakes, right? There was not like an easy point of education, understanding the importance of security keys, understanding having multiple wallets. You learn from the mistakes. There's not sort of like an education crash course of get into crypto this way. And I've been rugged when I first got into it. I've transferred to the wrong wallet. And what I want to do is have for free that education so people can make a start to understand the risks of the space, right? Yeah. So I'm really big on that. And when I created Keep Cats, the whole purpose of Keep Cats is to have a subtle element of education, right? To teach people some of these things, but turn it into a cool game, because I'm a gamer. I'm on Twitch, obviously. And I want to build something like WoW, sort of video game, online, massive multiplayer with on-chain abilities. That means writing to the blockchain with NFTs, as well as a gaming infrastructure, right? Fantastic. So it is a pretty big vision, but the whole thing has a subtle bit of education built into it as well, teaching people about it in different markets. Because in reality, the newer generations to come are going to really launch blockchains, right? Yeah. Our kids are going to really be even more deeper. And as you go down through other generations of tech, this is going to expand a lot, right? There's so many people building on blockchains already. And, you know, I've already started giving Bitcoin to my kids, right? I've got a little bit of a thing. This is funny. I've got a chore board. So when we have better communication, because they're very young still, I'm going to give them two options: have some pocket money or have some Bitcoin, but you can't touch it till you're 18. This is a bit of a boring finance approach, but that's how I'm going to teach the kids the importance about it. But I just think there's so much opportunity here for people not to have the harsh journey that we have, because this is the journey for some people, right? They get into crypto, they hear about Dogecoin, right? They probably buy Dogecoin thinking, wow, I've got a Dogecoin. Or they buy an NFT, they get rugged by a mint, and they get their first rug experience and think all crypto is a scam. But that's only one experience, because they've gone right into the Wild West. It is the Wild West out there. And I say this a lot, but because we're in the startup world and it's blockchain technology and crypto, pull your pants up. It's a blood sport, right? And if you don't go in there knowing it's going to be a fight out there, you got to have your wits. You got to be street smart in this place. And it's not like create a bank account and send money from one bank account to another. No, you're the bank. You're everything. There's no one you can call to if there's a mistake.
Sovereignty.
Right. With all this great options for power and control comes the great responsibility. And I think people don't realize that. That's Spider-Man, right?
Yes.
And I think what I hate to see is people What I'd love to see is this. I call it the Australian pub test. If I go
Okay.
into Outback Victoria, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And I go into a pub and I hear in the pub people talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, and layer ones one day, then mass adoption's hit.
Yeah.
You might go out in the pub, no one will speak about it, but one person will say, I know Bitcoin and that dog coin, right? And that's the sad thing right now. That's what people will say. What do you know about crypto? Oh, there's pictures that scam you and there's a dog coin. That's what they think.
Maybe
And that's
it
what I'm
needs to
trying to
change.
change. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And you're absolutely right. Like, you even see it in the mainstream media and the stuff that we talk to people in the mainstream media. We did, our Fighting FUD video on AusBiz the other week, and done some other stuff just to help educate that there's a whole lot more to the data than what you see in the headlines. There's a whole lot more to this space in terms of building than what you hear about in the mainstream kind of news. There's so much more under the hood. But your point there, I think, is very important around the education, because we have all had our good and bad and kind of experiences. And if you've only had good, great, good on you and stuff. That's very lucky, but it's such a rare kind of case. But, like they say that crypto, all these projects are, because they're open source, and we've learned this from the open source world, it ends up being building blocks for others. So no one starts building stuff from scratch. No, you got your layer ones, you got the blockchain. And now some people are even building on the layer twos, which are the apps that are built on the blockchain. So they call it Legos, right? But I think the learning Legos is massively important, because if everyone is just bound to make the mistakes that we have in the past, then it's still, it's not good enough. Like, we need to have that education out there so people can learn from us. They'll make their own mistakes. That's fine, right? But at least they've gone further than doing all the stuff that we had to do. So that's awesome, man. And the key thing with, I guess, all of this is, like, if people want to learn about it, it's all about community, right? Like, you've got the community you're growing, we've got the community that we're growing, but we're all connected somehow through calls like this, through meeting up in real life and stuff. But, what does community mean to you, Josh? Like, when did you really feel like this place is all about community, and how do you kind of define community? If someone from the outside was to ask you about, community in blockchain and Web3.
I think it's the same as any industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
These things are powered by people, right? And people are the center of communities. And people come together in communities for different things, right? Religion, sport, professions, industries. But we don't really come all together and talk about money, do we? We don't all talk about well, unless you work in the finance industry, there are exceptions, right? We don't talk about the importance of taking control of things, getting new skills, growing. And when I look at blockchain technology, it's kind of like people have the meeting grounds of their own little LinkedIns, right? I'm really into DeFi, I'm really into NFTs, I'm really into learning coding, whatever. Blockchain brings all these different communities together. So if you think about what the technology is, it's innovating different industries, but we all come together to talk about the same operating system, because we all use iPhones. I'm just using it as an example, right? We all use blockchain tech. So when I think about community, I think about how do you bring those people together and have meaningful conversations? And that's what I see community as: coming together, centering about a purpose together. And you can be in many different communities. You might be a DJ art person right into NFTs, but have a huge interest into what's happening and being built, right? You might be huge into DeFi, or you just want to connect with other people in your country, in your state, or globally around the topic or product. So I think what people fail to realize is things like Discord are really, really powerful, but all these powerful community tools, you also need a little bit of education to know there's a lot of scams on them, because they know people are congregating around them, right? And I think what people need to realize is this isn't just the normal type of community where you can go to the pub and find them. You need to be online and you need to be savvy. So when I think about community, it's kind of like there's not one community beating another. They all have different things that they meet around, and you might be a part of different communities. And the most important part is, just like blockchains, interoperability, right? Connecting.
Spot on. And I think that if, you're a part of a community, then you really need to feel like you belong there. And if you don't get the right kind of fit, look, no love lost, just move on and find something else. But if there's a community that really speaks to you and helps you and you're getting something out of it and you're getting more out of it than you're putting in, then that's a beautiful kind of thing. And like, it becomes really true that the sum of the parts is greater than the whole in this case, when you do that. But I like the fact that, you think about interoperability as well, because like that's what it really is about. We can't do this alone. It's not like, hey, look, there will be the version of like the popular, blockchain layer 1 or layer 2, the Facebook type thing, but not doing Facebook type things. Although, we're human. There are going to be mistakes that happen in the future. There is no perfect system, but as long as what we're doing is better than yesterday, I think it's going to be great. And I love the idea of the pub tests. So we'll have to do that in, say, regional New South Wales, or even overseas. Who knows where you end up one day out in the jungle somewhere, and then someone's talking about layer 1s and 2s and dApps and stuff while you're lost as a tourist somewhere. But mate, that's awesome. I think we'll wrap up here. We'll make sure to share all the links to your projects, to your socials, and how people can reach out to you, and hopefully they become part of your audience or watch your live streams. And more importantly, I hope that they learn from the stuff that you've done yourself and come before, coming from like being a TradeFi person, traditional finance, to being a DeFi advocate. I think we both wear the same kind of hat in that sense, given like my background and stuff. So it's always really cool to talk to like-minded people. But mate, you've been in it a lot longer, so I've got so much more to learn from you. But for now, mate, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Mark. It's been a pleasure.
There you go, folks. What a cool show. And make sure to tune in to Josh's socials, which we'll link in the show notes below. There's plenty there, and you can learn more about the stuff that he's doing. Make sure to check out the stuff that we're doing as well. So we've got the website and the newsletter, and more importantly, the Discord where all the cool chatter goes on. And we've got a bit of a growing list of videos now too. So please do like, share, and subscribe. Check out those links, jump on in, and let's continue the conversation.